I'm Woody Huffines, and I own the NerdsToGo in McKinney and Frisco, Texas, and this is Tech for the Untechnical. Internet of Things security. How do we approach that? First of all, what is the Internet of Things? Well, the Internet of Things is all those things that are now on the Internet that traditionally weren't, for everything from your toaster oven to your light switches. Where we have automated our house, or where we've got digital voice assistants like Amazon's Alexa or Google's Home. These are things that get connected to the internet that we use to make our lives more convenient and helpful. But the question I think we need to ask is, yes, we can link those things up to the internet, but should we? A good bit of my time has been in the construction business or the IT business where we do projects. One of the first things you do in a project, whether it's a construction project or an IT project, is you do a risk register. You go look at all the potential risks that might impact the completion of the project, either on time or within budget. If it's a construction project, what's the likelihood that it's going to rain? What if you have labor unrest? What if you have supplier issues? And you have a whole list of things that are the risks that you need to get rid of or manage as you do the project. And anytime that you're doing this, you got a bunch of people sitting around the table that are professionals that have been in the project business for 30 years. And they can come up with a long list of things that might happen. And how do you mitigate those risks? What are the things that you do? Do you accept the risk? Do you buy insurance for the risk? Do you change the way you're going to do the plan to mitigate the risk? So all of that experience goes into managing a risk register. Well, with the Internet of Things, we don't have that 30 years of experience. The Amazon Alexa came out in mid-2015, so we've only got 4 years of really using this stuff. And we didn't really understand the risks when we got started, and I don't know that we understand the risks now, in the main. In the news in the last couple of weeks, a lot of Ring camera owners are having some stranger talk to them in their home. In one case, a guy's telling a little girl that he's got candy and that he's Santa Claus and that he's her friend. In another case, a guy's getting insulted in his home through a voice out of his Ring camera. Now, Ring has said that it's not their network that's insecure, that it's the user who may have reused a password, and that password's what caused the problem. I've got a short video on it here. But the question is, what is the risk that's associated with having a Ring camera inside your house? In this case, it's kind of inconvenient and it's very uncomfortable to have some yahoo talking to you through your camera. But if he was a real bad guy that intended you harm, might he, instead of talking to you through the camera, figure out what things you had in your house when you were home and when you're not, so he could come steal them? So maybe the first thing that we need to think about before we put a camera in our house is, what are the risks associated with having a camera in our house? And it's not just the data that's in our house that somebody might be able to view in real time. If you have a Ring doorbell or you have any number of the security devices, you can go back and look through your security log. You can go back to last week and see what was on the camera last week. That means that that data has to be stored someplace. In a case about 6 months ago, security researchers found 4 terabytes of data stored in an open database. That database happened to be in China, and the manufacturer was somebody who had several different brands of internet-connected devices. But the bottom line is that your data, if you bought one of these devices, was sitting out on the internet, exposed to anybody that visited this particular database on the website to look at all your stuff. It wasn't encrypted, it wasn't secured in any way. So not only do you have the risk that somebody could be looking into your house, you have the risk that 6 months from now somebody could be looking into your house for today, because that data is stored on the internet. How, as a user, do you make a judgment as how much risk that is? The other case where you've got manufacturers that are doing things that you may not be happy with, it's a risk that you undertake. Amazon and Google both got caught having subcontractors listen to the recordings from the Amazon Alexa and the Google Home devices. The idea being that when you say Alexa, Alexa's going to start listening at that point because she's heard the trigger word. And they were using subcontractors to listen to the questions that people asked so that they could make the user experience better. Fair enough. Do you really want people all over the world, you don't know where, listening to recordings of what happened inside your home to make that user experience better? Something you need to consider before you put one of these devices in your home. There's also the concept of being a good internet citizen. Every time you put a device on the internet, It adds another device on the internet that bad guys can use for distributed denial of service attacks by crypto miners. They can use to attack others. And if you put those things in your house, they may take them over, which leads us to the final point, which is it expands the attack surface or the threat surface for things in your home. If you have a computer connected to the same network that you have an insecure Internet of Things device, because it's really handy that you can open your garage door from next door, or that you can toast your toast just the way you like it from your internet connected toaster, those items could be the doorway through which someone enters your network and takes over your computer, which goes back to that question of can we versus should we. One security researcher has opined that 20 years from now, Internet of Things devices will be like the asbestos of the 40s in our homes. That we'll be doing everything we can to strip this stuff out of the home because of the risks that Internet of Things devices entail. They're not very secure. They expose your network. They might expose you personally. There are a lot of things that you need to consider. For example, do you really want an internet-connected device to lock and unlock your front door? First thing I think we need to do is spend some time asking, what are the advantages of having those internet-connected devices? What do they do for us, and what do they do to us? We'll talk about that more in the future. I'm Woody Huffines. I own the NerdsToGo in McKinney and Frisco, Texas, and this is Tech for the Untechnical. Hit the subscribe button below, ring the notification bell, mash the like button, and make a comment. What kind of Internet of Things security issues do you have, or do you want me to talk about? Because there's a broad range of them, and we'll be covering them in the future. Hope you join us.